Smith & Wesson Bodyguard in 380 ACP. This is Smith & Wesson's answer to the micro 380 subcompacts that we're seeing all over, and of course driven by the number of people that are concealed carrying. In fact, we had two classes at our church for concealed carry. We had over 40 people in the two different classes, and it's just really incredible the number of just average American citizens who feel the need to be armed and to be able to defend themselves, which I think is a great thing. Now, the Smith & Wesson really, to me, is very nice quality. I have done some reviews on the Ruger LCP, the Kel-Tec, the Taurus, and also the IO Inc. Hellcat, and even did a joint comparison with all four. I really like the feel, the fit, and finish of this pistol is really exceptional. So the first thing before we get started, of course, we're going to go ahead and just safety check the weapon. And of course, it is unloaded. It is a polymer framed lower receiver. There is a very nice finish to this lower frame. Very rounded, very well done. There are some texturings that are done along the back strap, the finger grooves here on the front strap, and right here in the center. Has a very nice feel to it. It is very thin, but so are most of these concealed carry small 380s. And that's the reason for this, is to be able to carry it concealed on a daily basis. And so it's going to be very thin and very small, and that really keeps you carrying it, where if something more bulky, you might leave it home. The weight on this pistol is 11.85 ounces unloaded. So it is a very lightweight pistol. It is very thin, 0.75 inches, 3/4 of an inch right here, the frame and the slide. Now it does come out just a touch more right here with the takedown lever, which comes out to about 0.86, but so it's still under an inch in width, and that really helps to be able to conceal this really flat on the body. It is 5 1/4 inches long, and it's 3.8 inches in height, which is just under 4 inches. Now the barrel length is 2.75 inches. It does hold 6 rounds plus 1 in the chamber. You can see that it does have a stainless steel magazine, nice follower. This one needs to be cleaned, obviously. These guns work really flawlessly. The stainless steel magazine is really nice in and out of the pistol itself. The button, which is fairly recessed, but once you get a grip on it, it's fairly easy to come out, but you're not going to inadvertently hit that magazine. And that is one of the problems I've seen with some of the micro pistols, is hitting that magazine and having it actually out right here. You may fire the first round, but then you're going to have issues with the reliability. So you need to make sure that magazine stays seated. One thing I really like, though, especially about the Smith & Wesson, is that it does have the last round bolt hold open. Similar to the Taurus TCP, that's one of the things that it features. So you're going to be able to have your slide back so you can have quick reloads. Now, a few of the things about the controls which are really easy to get a hold of, but one of the things the Smith has is an external safety. Most of your small subcompacts do not have a small safety. Now, to be honest with you, I don't know that there is a real need for a small safety. That could be an issue if you have this tucked away and then you need to bring the safety off. But it does seem to be a pretty positive safety, and it takes a little bit of dexterity to get to it. Of course, your slide release is next, and we've already demonstrated it, but right here is the slide release. Now, one of the things about the slide release, once you release the magazine, watch the slide release. It'll drop down into that position. And then once you put it back up, it goes into the lock position. So the magazine, inserting a magazine does lift up your slide lock. And this is your breakdown lever right here, and we're going to look at that in just a minute. On the slide itself, you have the grooves that are serrated. This does give you a little bit of a gripping surface to be able to go ahead and load the weapon. The sights on here actually are pretty high quality. Very similar to the Novak type sights, and front and rear, they do lift up somewhat over most of the subcompact sights. Because they're well rounded off too, they're not prone to snag. But one thing that's really important is because they're dovetailed, you're going to be able to get some windage adjustment in here. So if your gun is shooting to the right or the left, you're going to be able to drift over your sight just a little bit to be able to get on target. There's no elevation adjustment, it's only windage. But to me, these are some of the best sights that I've seen out there. But one of the things that the Smith & Wesson offers, integral with the pistol, is a laser sighting system. And right here, it's Insight laser. It's actually built into the lower frame. Now, it is ambidextrous on either side. The touchpad itself is really easy to actuate. Here we have it with it actuated once. Hit it again, it goes into a pulse. Hit it again and it cuts off. There are a lot of discussions about the effectiveness of a laser, especially in a self-defense situation. But having a laser on your pistol and having this little bit of an intrusion into the design of the pistol, to me, just makes it kind of nice, especially out at the range. And you're able to really see how steady your hand is as far as for shooting. And really for training, to me, a laser is really important to see where your muzzle is pointing. Now, you're not going to be able to tell it in here as much, but this laser is not the brightest. There are other laser systems that are bright, but this is still adequate. I was outside earlier during the day, and you could still see it, but now at night, this will be plenty adequate, or in low light situations. Here we have elevation adjustment for the laser, and then we have windage adjustment, and there is a supplied Allen wrench that you can use to adjust this. To get to the battery system in here, you're going to need to take the slide off, and of course all of that is in the owner's manual on how to do that. But if you can get a good look at the finish on this frame, it is exceptional. Smith & Wesson has done a really fine job making this pistol very ergonomic, very smooth for the pocket or pocketbook or wherever you're having it in a holster, and easy to carry. There is a slight beaver tail here to give you a little better gripping surface, and the thickness here is pretty nice. A lot of the pistols are going to be thin. This is really where you're going to have all of your gripping surface, the front and the back slide. This is where you're going to have all of your gripping surface, the front strap and the back strap, more than you are with the thickness of the grip itself. There are two separate pieces that go with the magazine. There are only one magazine is provided. This is with the finger groove. There's also a pad that you can replace this with that's flat. I want to always recommend that you have at least 2 or 3 extra magazines with any pistol. Now, the Bodyguard does come with this little pouch, which is a padded pouch from Smith & Wesson with their logo right here stitched into the pouch. It's zippered, dual zippers. Has a small place here for the pistol itself and for your magazine. Now, one of the things that I've heard some complaints from different places is about the trigger pull. This is a double action only pistol. It's not a striker fired pistol like many, especially the Glock or many of the other different polymer frame pistols. And what that does is you can see the hammer right here. So when you pull this trigger, you're going to accentuate the hammer, and it's going to come all the way back. Now, because of that, there is a fairly long trigger pull. And there have been some complaints about how long the trigger pull is. But that has everything to do with this being safe without having a safety. You can keep this in this position, loaded, safety down, and still retain a lot of safety while carrying this. One thing that I've noticed, though, is that it is long, but it's smooth. Very smooth. Here we bring it all the way back, and it's almost to the point where you can stop, and then it fires. Now, one of the good things about having a hammer like this and a double action pistol is that if for some reason you have a round that doesn't fire, you can take a second strike at that. With a Glock, once you pull the trigger, the trigger remains in this rear position. But because of this hammer, we're able to fire it, and then if it doesn't fire, we can do it again and hopefully be able to fire that round a second time. Then, of course, if not, you're going to go ahead and eject the round. But personally, I think the trigger pull is fairly smooth. Reset, though, is all the way out. The grip itself has nice finger grooves here to be able to add to comfort, and also with the beaver tail, it fits nice in the hand, but it will feel thin in your hand, and shooting it a lot during the day, it is going to wear on your hand, but 50 rounds or so, it's not bad. Now we're going to break down the pistol, and of course we want to remove the magazine, double check to make sure the gun is unloaded. This is your takedown pin. What you want to do is go ahead and bring your slide back and engage your slide stop. And then we're going to bring around this lever. Now I'll tell you, the first few times you do this, it's going to be pretty tough. But you just bring it around till it goes perpendicular here. So once you get it down to here, we're going to take a small screwdriver and we're going to put it right here, and without marring your finish, we're going to just pop it out. Now what we're doing is popping it over that little spring right there. Then your takedown lever comes right out. Then you disengage your slide lock, holding your slide, and then it just rides forward. A nice stainless steel guide rod, and that's going to keep reliability at an optimum. And then of course we're going to pull the barrel out. Nicely finished slide is a matte black stainless steel melanite finish. So the melanite finish is very tough and resistant to scratches and corrosion. The stainless steel is going to add to that, also being resistant to corrosion. Then here's the frame itself, very lightweight, very small and thin. Now to reassemble, there's just one thing that's a little different. We're going to reverse order. Go ahead and put our barrel and recoil spring in. Go ahead and put your slide stop in and engage it. Make sure your barrel is all the way forward, because you're going to want to go in between the barrel grooves. And then we take our pin. Okay, you're going to want to get over that little spring with your takedown pin. Then place it in like that, and it goes right in. And then you're going to want to turn it and make sure that it clicks over that shepherd spring, like so. Now once you have it in, you can disengage your slide lock and you're ready to go. Now from all the accounts that I've seen, read, and even what I've fired with the bodyguard, they are very reliable and shooting multiple rounds without any malfunctions. So that just out of the box. So we're going to go ahead and take it out and do a little shooting and test this little baby out. Now one thing very notable to mention about the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard is the price. And these run about between $340 and $360. And that's a little more than the typically the Rugers or the Kel-Tecs, but with the integral laser, that really makes this a fantastic deal. Because typically lasers on the end of pistols are around $100, so this really, especially if you're looking for a laser system itself, this would really be a great way to go. The demand for these is pretty high, and so you may or may not be able to find one readily. They are coming through in numbers at different gun shops, and typically you have to put yourself on a list. But this is a great little option for concealed carry, one that I want to highly recommend if you're looking for a 380 in the micro subcompact pistol for concealed carry. One good thing too is Smith & Wesson stands behind their products and they have a lifetime guarantee. The Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 380, an excellent choice for concealed carry. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Now it does come with this little zippered pouch from Smith & Wesson with the emblem in. Now it does have a little from Smith & Wesson, and it's a little design with a little Smith & Wesson